Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. So, today we'll be going through these presets once again that we have for the ToneX One series. If you're over on Instagram, if you want to check out a better view, you can check that out on YouTube, all that good stuff. But I definitely appreciate all you guys hanging out with me on Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, um, and YouTube. So make sure you hit the like button wherever you are starting this off. But right off of the back, let's start with this Aguilar preset. So, those of you that are just joining us, I appreciate all of you guys. But we're going through pretty much these presets from the new Bass Negus preset pack available on Patreon. If you want these sounds for your ToneX One or your ToneX pedal or your ToneX software on your computer, you can have these sounds exactly for your plugins and different things like that. So let's go through a few things what we got here. We just started off with the first one. So the first one consisted of an Aguilar AG preamp. running into a Fender Bassman Neo 115, which is the cabinet off to the side here, right there, and an Audix D6, which is right there as well. Ran that Audix D6 microphone into a JHS Color Box V2, which you see here on the desk, the big white box there. So all that combined is put in. So the cabinet. Well, let's start here. Let's break it down. Let's break down the preset real quick, what you're really getting. So I modeled the preamps separately from the cabinets just to get a more accurate sound from it. So here's what my bass sounds like without any of the stuff on, pretty much. Right? Then we add the Aguilar AG preamp. So nice solid bass sound there. Let me see, finger style. So got that there rolling. But when you add this IR, this is one of the IRs that is included. Like I said, there's 6 different IRs that I'm including with this. I will be coming out with separate IR packs for each cabinet that I use. It'll be about 7 or 8 different cabinet packs there. But in order for me, I feel like the best way to get the most natural tone and most accurate tone out of the ToneX series stuff, it was for me to model everything separately, so you guys would be able to switch things out even with these presets. Once you upload these presets to your software, you'll be able to mix and match these cabinet IRs that are available. It's 6 of them. Most presets I kept the same with. This is my favorite one, the Fender Bassman 115 with the D6 out and running into the color box. So most of them have that, and the reason I use that IR the most because it's the most it's the one I feel like has a big round sound to it, but still has a lot of clarity on the top end and in the mid range. If you want to boost your mid range on your bass or something, it won't be piercing. It'll still be smooth coming through that particular IR. And when you're switching from preamps, you can pretty much have one cabinet and you're switching through different preamps. So it helps for me, I feel like it helps the sound engineers stay a little bit more consistent when you're not switching preamps and cabinets all at once, all the time. So, like I said, I like to use it like this, where I can pretty much have it an Aguilar amp or something, or I might choose like 3 different amps. I use a ToneX One, so all 20 of these presets are going to be on my ToneX One, and I usually say I'm doing a church gig or something, or where I'm using in-ears. These really come in handy, but you can hear everything separately. See, here's the cabinet with the IR. So first off, here's the preamp. And then with the IR. So, you know, you get a nice warm sound with that. Very versatile. You can use it for slap and pop, or you can use it for finger style. You use it for jazz. You use it for wherever. You know, that's one thing I love about the AG preamps, Aguilar AG preamps. They are very clean. You know, they're very transparent as well. Even though you can hear a slight boost from my dry signal to that. But then when you add the IR, really gives it something to grab onto there in terms of that real cabinet sound. Then you know, comes with the reverb on as well, because I like that sound to sound like it's in a room, not just like it's right up on my ears. So, bam, you got all that put together pretty much right there. The reason I have on all these presets, I also have the compressors turned off automatically, but I do have them set up for you guys already. All you need to do on your actual pedal is raise the threshold, and it'll automatically turn this on and off on the pedal if you're just using the pedal out and about. But I have of course, you see I have a pedal board here. This is actually my ToneX One right there. It's so small, and you know, they're black, so they're hard to see as well. But it's very tiny pedal, and it carries all 20 of these presets for me. right? So not only that, but it also processes, at a higher sample rate. So nice, good clarity to the unit as well. And these, in my opinion, you're listening to them through the software. In my opinion, they sound even better through the pedals. But that's just my opinion. That's not scientific enough. But these sound amazing on here as well. So, but and you swap these out when you put them on the pedal. You can put them in any order you would like, all that good stuff. But let's move on. So pretty much all the settings are set up like that, where it's preamp, custom cabinet IR, and reverb, and then I also did some EQing for you guys as well, and locked all that in, and then compressor. So these are my actual settings too. This is not something I actually made for you guys per se. These are my settings that I use all the time for everything, at this point, when I'm not taking if I want to get all those different sounds and take them with me, it's very difficult to do without having something like a ToneX One or a ToneX pedal, although plus it can get expensive. These ToneX pedals are pretty spot on. I'm not even going to say pretty much, they're spot on. You won't be able to tell the difference between the actual AG preamp and the ToneX in a blind test, listening test. And I did, you can check that out on my channel as well. I actually did some comparisons between the ToneX and the actual preamps, and before I did the packs, and I did a comparison between a blind test between those and the analog version counterparts that they're modeling. So like I said, everything that's available, let's just go through some of the things that's available now for you guys on here before we even get started. So you got the Aguilar AG preamp, you got the Ampeg BA series head on here. You also have the Electronic BH500, which is that big red, black and red head back there, which is 30 pounds. But you guys can get it right in something that'll fit in the palm of your hand in the ToneX One, with this pack. And you don't have to buy the head. That head's not even available. There's quite a few of the heads I have on there that aren't even available anymore. So you have things like the little Mark-based little Mark III, which they don't make anymore. It's a very classic head. I have that on here. We're gonna get to all of these actually. But you got the JHS Color Box on here as well. Got one of those settings on here. The Laney Digbeth is on here. Preamp. You got the Ampeg SDT DI as well. You got the Harkey TX600. What else? I even did a combination of the Gensler Magellan preamp, the JHS Color Box V2, and the Empress. And what I did, even though the ToneX doesn't cover the Empress, it doesn't cover compression, what I did was I just turned on the tone and the print there, and that allowed me to get the tone plus color feature on there, which adds some saturation and some EQing from the compressor, but not compressing it. So don't expect to get the Empress compressor's compression on there, but you'll get the tone of it from there. So all right, let's jump. And you got the Eden WTDI. Let's see what else we got on here. Got the Gensler Shuttle 9 on here, so got a what else? Yep, that's all of them. Okay, let's get back to it. Aguilar, this is the Aguilar AG with the deep and bright switch on. So, something a little bit more noticeable there with the preamp. So let's dial this back and just hear just the preamp by itself. Well, let's hear my bass by itself, and then we'll add the preamp. So, just with the preamps by themselves, is amazing. But you add that cabinet in there. So, you know, get a nice sound there, nice clean. If you're into the nice Aguilar slap, that'll get you there. So moving on. I also have my favorite Ampeg amp on here, which is the Ampeg BA series amp, which is actually sitting off right here to the side. But I did just the preamp for you guys. So let's hear a little bit of that. Here's with my bass flat. So that's just with my bass flat right there. So what's going on, folks? Feel free to like, hit that like button for me. You know, comment and share, all that good stuff. Tyler, I appreciate you. Appreciate that a lot. You know, but feel free to hit that like button. Make sure y'all subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And all these are available right now on the Patreon. You don't even have to wait. All these preamp packs are available. But if you would like to get this is the difference is I have, well, let me just explain. So for the ToneX series stuff, I have 11 different preamp packs available on the Patreon is already, right? So each one of these preamps, the Magellan, Gensler Magellan, the Aguilar AG preamp, the Eden WTDI, the Ampeg SG-TDI, the Mark Bass Little Mark III Ampeg BA head, the Gens Bend Shuttle 9, which is a tube preamp, TC Electronic BH500, as well as a Harkey TX600 head as well. So all those are, and let's not forget the JHS Color Box. Those are available, already available, been available for a couple weeks. You can get those for your ToneX already. But I just added today, and well, yesterday, I added this pack, which is my personal pack, and it comes with IRs. The other ones don't come with IRs. The other ones are just preamp packs. But this one is my personal 20 settings from the ToneX, my ToneX One. So it's got the, you know, this is one of my main settings I use all the time. These are my exact settings with my exact IR setup and everything. So again, the signal chain was running into this. I did the BA head separately. So I did the head, modeled the head, and then I have a Fender Bassman Neo 115, you know, running that into an Audix D6 mic, running that mic into the JHS Color Box, right? So that's, you know, that's the part for the cabinet. So cabinet, mic, color box, you know. That's my bass flat. Now if I do some EQing on my bass, I can add more, or I can scoop it out more, or I can add more bottom if I want more bottom. Right? Nice, clean. Right? Sounds just like you coming through the BA head running through that cabinet, which is amazing. Because when you really think about the value of this, you know, it's pretty much $5 a preset, you know. But what you're looking at just for the BA series head, that combo that's $500. The cabinet running $850, right? So then the microphone was about around $200. The color box itself is around $450, $450. So when you put in that the preset is only $5, you know, that's a good vibe. That's a good trade-off. When you ain't not only that, but all the hours I spent just crafting these tones, playing through this gear. I've been playing through a BA series head for years, so I have that sound completely dialed in to a nice big bottom sound. Let's take some of this stuff off so you can hear just the preamp. Because I did, like I said, I did the preamps and the IRs separately. I didn't just do like some of the other packs you'll find on the internet. They did everything together. But when you do that, the ToneX software doesn't in my opinion, do the greatest job of distinguishing the preamp's voice from the cabinet's voice. This way, I ensured that if you guys wanted to turn off these cabinets and use these preamps as heads for your cabs or for your stacks, whatever, you know, basically you can run this ToneX pedal straight into the power amp in or the return of your amp, and you'll be able to have this head sound come through your cabinet. So hello. So it's even already pre-EQ sounding good. The highest quality that the ToneX software has to do. Each of these preamps took me an hour to do in the modeler. So, you know, none of this was rushed. And then, you know, it took me a while to get all these IRs and stuff together. And I'll be coming out with separate IR packs, you know, so all these cabinets, all 8 cabinets you'll be able to get. All 11 different preamp packs are available to you right now. And you can use this stuff as plugins in your DAWs, the ToneX software. And you can use, when you get a ToneX One or a ToneX pedal, it comes with ToneX and amplitude. So that is one of the huge benefits of this. And they're going to update the ToneX One, well, the ToneX pedals, to where they're going to have modulation and they're adding delay. So now, this whole little package, this little thing, look, this the ToneX right here. That little teeny tiny thing, I don't know if you can even see me pointing down there on the floor. It's so small. But they're going to add, so it's going to be noise gate. They're going to add some different compressors, add more compressors to it. They're going to add delays, modulations, and more types of reverbs. All for $179. That's bananas. That is insane, an insane value. And bass players, we definitely got to jump on this one, because if you notice running in the house sometimes, like to get from there to here without an amp head is very difficult. But then to get all the way from to where it sounds like it actually coming through a cabinet is a far cry. And you can, it seems like sometimes your bass is like overly bright when it's, I'm gonna put my bass back flat. My bass is super bright without that cabinet sound. Right, that's just my bass flat. Here's with the preamp. Really adds that nice Ampeg sound and saturation. And then with the cab, really adds that nice cabinet sound. You can add compressor on there, reverb to make it feel like it's in a room. So it really gives you that nice bass sound there. So, all right, let's move on. So all these are pretty much set up like that, where you'll have the compressor. The compressor pretty much will be off. Say that back. Compressor will be off, but you could just turn it on, turn up the threshold. All right, so let's get to the TC Electronic BH500. And this is when, in my opinion, when TC Electronic was in their prime, when their stuff was, all their amp heads, all their bass heads were crazy. Now, it is what it is. I ain't got nothing to say about that. But this was, that was pretty much like a big version of their smaller little travel heads that everybody was playing. And, it's 30 pounds. But now you get to have it right in the palm of your hand with this. So let's go. So, as you can see, you get that nice TC Electronic sound with that nice warm Fender Bassman 115 in there. But let's take just the BH500. And this is without the tube drive on at all. This particular setting is just EQ. I had the cabinet. And again, I'm doing all the tone shaping from my bass. You know, this is how I personally prefer to do it. Um, I don't like having to fiddle with no amps and stuff like that during the show, or amp sounds too much. I'd rather just be able to switch them. So, but if I want to use one particular sound, the way I've always done it with an actual real bass amp is to just set the amp up the way I need it to sound, and then from there I will do all the rest of the tone shaping on my actual bass. I typically play a octave bass, but even if you ran that into a passive bass into that, that's going to give you a lot of clarity. It's going to give you a big bottom, so it's going to do plenty for your tone there. So that's that setting. Here's the BH500, TC Electronic BH500 with the tube drive on 6. So, if you're thinking like 1 through 10 rather, you know what I'm saying? 6 is around 1 o'clock, So you start getting into that more overdriven territory there. And the amazing thing about the ToneX software is it models the gain stage of amps really well. So if I wanted more fuzz on that, I can just raise the gain, bring back the master volume. So it just depends on what sound you like and you're going for. And of course, if you want this to be a darker sound, you can always come. I have the EQ set up to good bass frequency boost and cut. So you can literally come and or if you would like less presence into the sound, you can come here, bring the presence down. You can bring the presence all the way down. If you would like, you still have that nice tube sound in there. So you still got that sound. I mean, it can get pretty amazing with these things. I love them personally. But yeah, let's move on. So all these, this particular IR that you're looking at, like I said, is a 3-part IR. But you also have the preamp part, and so like all these are done separately. So each one of these is an hour. It's like 20 hours right there just doing the preamps by themselves, not including the IR. So these are not thrown together. These are my actual settings I use for various things, gigs or whatever, occasions, and these are my pretty much the list I just took off of my ToneX One. But as you can see, it's not a cheap list here. This is definitely give you a good variety of sounds from even a few tube style preamps on here onto the solid state style ones. So let's go. nice warm overdriven sound there from the TC Electronic BH500 with the tube drive on 8, you know, with my particular EQ. And like I said, you can, all of these are pre-EQ. You'll be able to throw them on there, no problem at all, you know. And, you know, most of these already have the reverb and things like that set, you know, but all the compressors are already set. And again, the ToneX pedals are getting an update in Thursday, I believe it is, the 14th. They'll be getting a mod section, so you already got a noise gate, compressor, amp, preamp, cabinet, reverb, and then like an EQ section. But they're gonna add more compressors, more reverbs. They're gonna add a modulation section and a delay section. So they complete upgrade. It's a whole new value at $179. It's a different ball game. And then when you add something like this preset pack I put together here, which includes cabinets, you know, custom cabinets and everything else, custom IR cabinets, right? And you know, preamps that are pretty pricey. If you just pricing out the preamps for this joint, the Magellan, that's like $300. The Aguilar AG preamp, that's about $300. The SGT when I bought it was like $400. Eden WTDI, that was like $150. Little Mark III bass head, you can get those still for about $450 now. You know what I'm saying? The Ampeg BA series stuff they don't even make anymore, but that was $500. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Jens Benz Shuttle 9. They still sell for about $400 or $500. The TC Electronic BH 500 also is still selling. It's brand new $500 when I bought it, but it's still selling for like $350. But you get all of these in different packs. You know, the Laney Digbeth, that's another preamp that's available on here. That's $300. So just in the preamps alone, you could spend a few $1,000s trying to get all these different tones and different preamps that's available in this one pack for $5 each. Each of these presets are $5 each in the pack, but they come in a pack. But if you break it down, they're $5 each. It's 20 of them. You can do the math from there. But it allows you to have thousands of dollars worth of equipment, sound, you know, and this is something you will run. If you're running it with the cabinet, this is something you will run into your recording console or into your headphones for practice, or directly into the PA or the front of the house, you know, when you playing out at church or at festivals or live streaming or whatever the case. This allows you to have that amp sound. And as well as you can globally turn off the cabinets when you're running it and run the ToneX series pedals directly into the power amp or the return of your bass amp. That way you're bypassing the built-in preamp, and you can literally have all these different preamps, 20 different preamp settings I have here, 12 different preamps altogether available here. You can have that running as your preamp for your bass amp live. And now you can switch your preamp. It's like essentially you can switch your bass head out while you're playing live without ever touching your amp. You're just doing it all from the pedal, which is amazing. Oh, I love that. So you got a nice big warm overdrive sound compared to this one, which is a little calmer, but you'll have to drive this one a little harder to get. But a much more brighter one when it's pushed compared to this setting for the BH500 that I put on here. So I'll give you a couple, a few different varieties even of the same sound, so one brighter, one darker. And like I said, all this stuff is pre-done for you. All you got to do is download it, get you a ToneX One or ToneX pedal if you don't have one, but I highly recommend you get you one. Even if, I was trying to debate, somebody asked me, would this be a good pedal for beginners? And I've been kind of debating with that. I think a beginner would be fine, especially with all the visuals stuff here and things like if you got a ToneX One and then you got this preamp pack, you pretty much set, ready to go. All you gotta do is pick which ones you want to be accessible to you. But all right, here we go. So yeah, it's a very versatile sound. And just so you have a reference real quick, you don't forget, this is what my bass would be sounding like without it. With it. So, as you can see, there's a there's a huge difference between your dry tone, the tone of just the preamp, and then when you add in the sound of the cabinet, it's a whole different sound. So, in actuality, with each preset, you're getting not just the preamp and the sound of that you could just run straight to your amp as a preamp and change the whole sound of your rig. You're also getting a cabinet, but you're also getting that ran through a good microphone into an amazing preamp as well. So, those factors all together is why you can get that. And then you can do, like I said, most of the tone shaping from your actual bass, whether it be your tone pots or whatever. Even if you're playing a passive bass, this is what the setting sounds like with my bass flat. But just doing some slight mid boost. If I want less string noise, just cut the highs on the bass a little bit. So it's not difficult. Make sure y'all hit that like button for me while y'all here. Make sure y'all subscribe. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. If you want to leave a tip, you can do that through the Cash App, Super Chat, Super Thanks, all that good stuff. But all these are available, again, on the Patreon. You can go to the Patreon right now and download this, all these presets. It's in one pack called the Bass Negus preset pack on my Patreon. It should be at the top of the list for you. Just released yesterday, late yesterday evening. But you got again, you got the TC Electronic BH500. You got an Ampeg BA head in there. Then you got an Aguilar AG preamp in there. You got a Laney Digbeth, a JHS Color Box V2, a Gensler Magellan preamp, Jens Benz Shuttle 9, Ampeg SGT. You got also got an Eden WTDI preamp in there, you know what I'm saying? A Harkey TX 600 head in there as well. The Ampeg SGT has a SVT and a B15 side, and then a regular preamp with it. So you got all three sides of that preamp of this one. Yeah, sorry about that. I stay hitting the camera. Eesh. But yeah, you got all three of those there available to you. So hit that like button while y'all here. I appreciate y'all hanging with me. But yeah, we're going through all this stuff, and we'll be back once they drop the update on the ToneX One. We'll be back explaining the new updates and keeping you up to date with that as well. So let me do this real quick. Bam. Let's get back to it. So, all right. So that's the Jens Benz Shuttle 9, which is that little head right there. Little small 7-pound tube amp head. Sounds amazing. But let's go on to the Gensler Magellan preamp running into the Fender Bassman Neo 115, which is mic'd up with an Audix D6 1 inch away from the center of the cone, and then that running into a JHS Color Box V2 and EQ, and added a small amount of just nice 1073 style preamp saturation. All right, let's go. And one thing I want to point out real quick, I'm going to flip through a few of these just so you guys can hear. They're all running through the same IR cabinet, all these few here. But, of course, there's things like the GK Neo 115 in here, which was mic'd up with a Audix D6 and a EV RE320 on the tweeter. You got things like the Fender, most of these are all, except for the GK cab, just the Fender and the GK cab, but mostly the Fender cab. And I got another kick drum mic, a D10 running through there, and a GXL 2200 on, and the SM57, all that stuff mixed in there as well. So you're getting all these different things, and you didn't have to learn how to mic up a cabinet. You don't even have to know how to EQ your amp, because I already EQ'd the preamps when I made the tone models. You don't have to learn how to set up a room so it sounds a certain way. You didn't have to buy a new mic or a color box, things like that. It saves you a ton of money. This list alone is thousands of dollars worth of gear. So it's definitely a great value, especially when you're talking about at $5 a pop. You know what I'm saying? None of these preamps cost $5. They all, so. But I'm gonna flip through real quick, because we still gotta get moving through the rest of these. But I'm gonna just flip back through some of the ones we've already done, just so you can hear a little bit more. But as you can hear, the huge difference just the preamp, changing the preamp sound makes for each preset. And you know, the reason I wanted to show you guys that the preset list kind of is glued together by having either similar IRs or just similar sound cabinet sounds. You know, when you're switching, you got to remember every time you switch, your sound engineer has to then redo some type of EQ curve every time you switch complete rigs. But if you're at least keeping the cabinet the same, they can make very little adjustments. They don't have to make massive adjustments, as you can hear, going from just let's see, we'll go from but as you can see, just switching preamps is actually less of a jump a lot of times than changing cabinets. Once you switch cabinets, that cabinet is a big jump. So, you know, just keep that in mind when you're doing your settings and you know, or you know, playing, you know, on stage or out or using in-ears and stuff. When you switch the cabinet, it typically switch the weight of the sound as well, because different cabinets have different amounts of bottom and heaviness to them. You know, different IRs have different heaviness to them. That's why, you know, I tried to give you something that universally work for everything you would have to do, but still give you a few little extra little goodies, like I gave you a GK cabinet in there. That's really a bright cabinet. Another little tip, you know, once you have this list imported, if you would like to all these preamps and the IRs to be loaded into your ToneX stuff, and you can then mix and match. So say if you did want to grab something off of the ToneNet, like, you know, here's a Fender 2 bass pre, you could literally bring that up here, drag it just to the preamp section, and now you got that compared with that Fender Bassman Neo 115 running through the D6 and the color box. So now it gives you options as well. So it's not just you're getting a preset list, you're getting new components. You're basically supercharging your ToneX software with different preamps with this pack here in particular. You know, again, you got 12 different ones in here, which is insane. 12 different ones in one pack with the IRs already EQ'd up for you. Even the EQ frequency centers are done for you to where you'll be able to add some bottom add some clarity with the mid range or add some upper presence, either with the treble or the presence knob, the depth, everything is already set. I typically like the sound of my amp. I'm used to hearing my bass mostly through amps, so I typically have my mix all the way up, but you can always change that mix if you wanted to on these presets to where you have some of your dry signal in there as well. I prefer not to. I prefer to have that sound be the main sound. But all right, let's keep it moving. So now let's go to this color box setting here, and this I included this one. So if you're one of those people that really like to have as close to their actual bass sound without too much color running into a cabinet, this is a way you can do that. So you get a little bit of saturation from the color box, a small amount of EQ, a little bit of boost around 100, a little boost around 100, 2.3 kilohertz and 7 kilohertz. So hit that like button. I appreciate y'all hanging with me. So, you can pretty much, if you wanted to, you could just turn off the cabinets globally and or right here, in this case. But if you just have a ToneX One, you just turn off the cabinets globally, and you can literally use the ToneX One as a way to have that 1073 style preamp running directly into the house. That's another way you can use this. So plenty of options with that nice clean sound. Nothing crazy, but some players don't want all the characteristics of the preamps. They want a nice clean, closer to what their bass sounds like direct, just amplified through the bass cabinet. So if you're one of those people, that color box setting will definitely help you get that. Moving on, here's the Laney plus a color. It says plus a color box. CB is color box, but pretty much that's just the same thing I was telling you before. It's Laney running into the Fender Bassman Neo 115 into the color box in from an Audix D6. So, all right, let's rock. And again, one thing the ToneX software has done a great job because of is emulating or really capturing rather the gain stage of these amps. So actually that's a bit of tube. So the Laney Digbeth preamp has two sides to it. It has the FET side and then it has the tube emulation side. It doesn't have a tube in it, but the tube emulation side. So this is a combination of the two, but I can push this gain. Now I get a lovely, lovely overdrive. And of course, you know, that's I went back to my bass flat right there. And again, you just adjust that main volume. You can push the volume. You want it to go back clean, just put that gain back to noon and push the main volume. And mind you, if you want more options for each of these preamps, you can go all 11 of these preamp packs are available already on a Patreon as well. If you want to support the channel, you can do that more on the Patreon. Hit that like button while you're here. I definitely appreciate y'all hanging with me. Make sure you hit subscribe so you know when I'm going live. I do ambient afternoons. A lot of times between 12 and 2, I start between 12 and 2, midday afternoon, and only about 4 to 5 times a week. And that's when I'm typically doing more performing, improvisation stuff. But this is just a regular all bass creations, effects tutorials, demos, and review where I do reviews of things. And I just happen to be reviewing my preset today. So my preset pack. So, you know, normally I do pedal reviews and tutorials, all that stuff, if you're not familiar. But this entire pack is available right now over on Patreon if you would like to grab it. And you can have all these preamps. If you want just the preamps or a certain preamp, you can go and get that is available on there. The patreon.com/allbasscreations. If you want to leave something on the Cash App, I would greatly appreciate it. You know, I need to eat too, and, you know, lunch is good. You feel me? But let's get it back rolling. So, I actually really love this Laney preset here. That's fire. Little Mark III and the Fender Bassman Neo 115 with an Audix D6 running through a color box. That's with just the compressor and reverb, and here's back with the head, preamp, and cabinet. So, as you can hear, each component definitely has its own unique characteristics that definitely add to the playing of it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, that definitely is getting you really close up on things, huh? And for me, you know, I like I said, I like to have that little touch of reverb on there, just to make it feel like it's in a room and it's not like so stuffy up in your ears. when you're, using the in-ear monitors or things like that. It just gives the sound some space to be in. But yeah, let's move on because we're almost through, guys. I guess we're gonna move this along a little faster. We don't need to explain so much. That was a different cab as well, different IR right there. So that's with the offender. Yeah, I appreciate you making it live. Thank you for making it out. I appreciate it. Hit that like button for me. I appreciate y'all. Um, but yeah, so yeah, this is the Ampeg SGT DI preamp, and as you know, just this preamp by itself is $400. I think they moved it down to about $350 now, but it's a great preamp and all that stuff. But it is a bulkier pedal. This is it right here. It's a bulkier pedal. It's about, if I was to put that on the smaller board on the floor, it would take up almost half of the board. So having something like a ToneX One where I can have that sound, I can have the Magellan preamp, which is another big preamp that takes up a good amount of pedal board space. Same thing, the AG preamp and the Eden WTDI. I got all these preamps within the ToneX One, and they're all on this list here, as well as the Little Mark III by Mark Bass. Ampeg BA series head is in there too in this pack. The Jens Benz Shuttle 9 and the TC Electronic BH500, as well as the Harkey TX600 and a hybrid sound preamp I made from the Gensler Magellan preamp, the Color Box, and the Empress compressor without any compression, just the tone and color portion of it. So you're getting all of these different sounds along with 6 different bass cabinet IRs. It just makes for some fun. So as you can see, just adding the preamp, it's gonna put you right there where you wanna be. And like I said, I did all these preamps separate from the IRs. I did all these IRs separately, so I could get the highest quality of each version, and that way, I would also be able to turn off the cabinets globally and just go through different preamps while I'm using my live rig. So all these different preamps, you can literally have access to all these different amp heads and preamps through and turn off the global cabinets running into your power amp in of your bass amp, or the return of your effects loop on your bass amp, and pretty much you'll essentially bypass the built-in preamp that's on that bass amp. And what that allows you to do with the ToneX is switch between preamps during the show. So essentially you're swapping out bass heads during the show, which is an amazing amount of flexibility. But when you add something like this and you're going straight into the system, these IRs are going to allow you to have that cabinet sound within your ears and going out to the house. And they don't have to mic the cabinet that you might actually physically be playing through, which allows them to have a cleaner sound with less headaches, on stage, worrying about how close the bass drum is to the kick, to the bass and all this other stuff, just problems you can run into sound wise that as a musician you don't have to deal with as much as the sound people have to deal with repercussions of your actions. So they'll love something like this where it's a simple sound, it's plenty of bottom built into it, so you don't have to add too much bottom or have too many tone shaping capabilities to your bass. But it's plenty of everything they would need. That nice cabinet sound or a nice preamp DI sound versus just your regular old sound. So having makes a huge difference in how it's going to punch through for you. So let's keep going. And all these are different, as you can see when you switch these. Different IRs on here. So let's take that cabinet off. That's my bass dry. Just the SGT with the SGT DI with the SGT circuit on the B15 side, and that's just with the gain on the SGT circuit all the way down. So just basically just adding saturation, the proper saturation to make it sound like a regular B15. And we're matching that. We can actually overdrive that if we felt like it. You know, you can push the gain, bring down the master volume. Just make it a break up just barely by pushing it. But I have a whole nother setting for the more overdrive sound on that. So all these presets again are available on the Patreon, already set up. You ain't really got to do all this. I'm just breaking them apart really so you can hear the detail that I use to put these together. You know, having the preamp done separately and creating the IR separately is how you really want to get the most accurate sound from this. So, all right. So that's the B15. Here's the overdriven B15. Now we're getting into the overdriven territory. Peel some of these layers, pull this cabinet off. Let's hear it dry. With the amp. Plus this one you can overdrive and distort a lot more, so you can push that gain. So plenty of options with those sounds. You can, dial that overdrive back by, like I said, ToneX did IK Multimedia rather did a great job when they were doing their software of getting it to also get the proper gain staging of amps and things. So that is amazing. That way I get a nice B15 sound. Same one I get from my SGT. I just get it in the ToneX One that fits in the palm of my hand. Again, all this is available on the Patreon. You can get this whole preset pack on the Patreon, or you can get any of the 11 preamp packs, on there as well. And the preamp packs are just the preamps packs by themselves. So just the preamps, but it gives you a more variety of settings for each preamp. For instance, the Laney Digbeth has a ton of settings. I think it's almost 10 different tone models in that. Let me see, what is that? I think it's 8 of them in there, if I'm not mistaken. 8 different Laney Digbeth tone models, and some of them are smaller packs, like JHS Color Box pack is only 2 settings in there at the moment. I may update that or do a part 2, but some packs I did a little smaller, so if you didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money, you can grab some nice preamp packs that don't cost, $50, $60. You can grab some that cost $10 and you get some nice tones in there. So, all right, let's move on. But this preamp pack, the thing that makes this different is you're going to get 6 different bass cabinet IRs, custom IRs, and you're going to get 12 different bass preamps that you can use and mix and match all this different stuff any way you want to. So, and it's done to the highest quality. So let's move on to the SGT DI's SVT circuit. So let's try that. So, nice SVT sound. Gives you that nice tube amp type sound. But you can also, again, if you wanted to push up into it a little bit more, you definitely could do that. All right, so that's that. Hold on one second, guys. So you got plenty of the gain staging in there, you know, so you can really get in there and play around. But then I also added a the overdriven SVT. So now, if you really want to push that volume on the gain and really distort it or overdrive it. So if you really want to overdrive it, you definitely can without the cab. And using it like this, you can also use these overdriven sounds as like an overdrive pedal for the on the ToneX. Use it like a nice warm sounds. But you can definitely, you know, you can hear how much it definitely transforms, how much it definitely does for the sound. So each component adds a ton of quality to it. So here we go with the Harkey TX600, which is a tube, nice portable tube preamp head. You know, it's only 7 pounds, but when you're trying to keep all these sounds with you, you know, carrying around 4 bass heads isn't really practical. Carrying around 4 or 5 bass preamps isn't really practical. But you can have all this in a ToneX One or a ToneX pedal, or you can get 2 ToneX pedals and combine things and do whatever you want to do. You know, the ToneX One is stereo. You just need a let me see if I have one available. Just need a Y split, stereo Y split, one of these. You just take one of these, which is left, right channel, and has 2 rings. It's got to have two rings on there. I don't know if y'all can even see that, but it's got to have the 2 rings, and that'll be left and right and balance. Left and right and negative, rather. or ground, whatever you want to call it. So let's keep it moving. All right, Harkey TX 600. So that's for my bass flat. Here's a little tone shaping on my bass. And here's the preamp by itself. My bass dry. So that's the Harkey setting. And again, each preset is kind of giving you a ton of options with the sound. Not a ton of options, but a good amount of options. Whether it be the EQ, you can always go and you can still EQ these further. I have them pre-EQ, but you can already go if you need less highs, or you need them more bottom, or you need more mids or more clarity in anything. You can. It's already set up to give you that. You know, it's not even something you have to struggle to get to. So, all right. So here's what I call the Ultra Cream preset here, and this has the same Fender Bassman Neo 115, but it's got the Gensler Magellan preamp running into the Color Box and running into an Empress. Then that's running into a Fender Bassman Neo 115 into an Audix D6 mic into a Color Box again. So again, that's the Ultra Cream. And last but not least, hit that subscribe, like, and share button. I appreciate y'all. But last but not least, you got the Eden WT-DI pedal, which those of you that are familiar, the Eden WT series heads were some of the, the world tour heads were amazing. They still got some around. They're a little bit more difficult to find now, but you can still find them used. They're not cheap. But the WT-DI is pretty much just like the Magellan, the AG, and the SGT are pretty much the DI box version of their bass amp head counterpart. So if you're not familiar with Eden sound, you get familiar now. All right, here we go. So as you can see, another very big, supporting sound there. So that's the key with these, to give you that nice, even if you're running straight into a in-ear system or straight into the front of the house, you'll still have that amp sound even without having your amp. That's the point. Or you also can have this running to the house along with your direct signal, and they can choose to mix and do whatever you want to do that way as well. Or you can use this as your actual preamp head, or like the head for your cabinet that you're using. That makes a huge difference. Not a head in the way of you can power it, but in the way of the preamp. You can use the power amp section from whatever bass head you may have that has a effects loop or a power amp in, and just go from there. And turn off the cabinets globally on the ToneX pedals, and You know, that way, though, you don't want that cabinet sound going to an amp. So don't think that these sounds are supposed to go to your amp, because they're not. Not with the cabinet on. You got to turn the cabinets off globally and then send the preamp sound to your amp. But that's how you would do it, pretty essentially. So if you haven't already, subscribe, like, and share. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. You know, this has been another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. Remember to hit that Patreon, support the channel through the Patreon. Remember that you can get 11 different preamp packs. So all the different preamps packs with different settings for the preamps you can get in packs. If you want the variety pack, you know, the Bass Negus preset pack, that's available there too, and you get 12 of those different preamp settings from different preamp packs on there. And then you also get 6 additional bass cabinet IRs as well. So great value. It'll you know, change your bass playing. It'll make you sound so much better without you doing much. So I definitely appreciate y'all hanging with me. This has been another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. Find me on all social media at the Bass Negus. Go check out my